Hi, it's me again with Corel Roll Tips and Tricks. And somebody sent me this pattern, and I've asked a question back in the email because they say they're going to cut it out in vinyl and don't need any overlapping lines. And I don't really understand how you would cut something like this out of vinyl. This is pretty easy to draw. I thought I had a video in this exact form, uh, but I can't find it, and I surely don't have the one with the black background. And you can see how I did it already, but I thought I'd just kind of show this. Uh, and you can make them as thick as thin as you want. I just took an ellipse and I made it something perfectly like 2 inches. And then let's zoom in here. Let's get this one in here just to see. And I just used my imagination and I set my nudge factor on 0.75. And I made a duplicate and I nudged it out of the way twice. That might be a little bit much, but we're going to try it. And then I'm going to move the center rotation to the center of the object. And then I'm going to rotate it 120 degrees. I didn't make a duplicate of it, so I'm going to go Control D. Whoop. I'm going to go Control D and make it. I can actually type in 0 and it'll go back, and then I can type in Control D again. Now, and you could make this a little bit thinner of a yoke, or these other parts with just nudging it out of the way a little bit differently. But I'm going to go with that. And if you don't understand, well, let me just do that real quick. Let's make a duplicate of that, and let's nudge it out 0.65 this time. And I'm just going to nudge it out. And of course, I did it twice. Now I am going to change the center rotation of this, and I'm going to Control D, and I'm going to rotate it 120 degrees. See, that made my yoke quite a bit thinner. So I'm going to go with that just to get a different look. I'm going to fill that in with the Smart Fill tool, and what the Smart Fill tool did, it made us a new shape. Now, I am going to, in this picture that I reproduced, I made these white so they would stand up out on a black background. And that's what I'm going to do with this. But I am going to left click, no outline, right click and outline, make it something more than a hairline, but then I'm going to make it white. Whoop. Didn't mean to do that. I'm going to make the fill white. Doesn't really change it on our screen, but if we bring in a yellow box, you can see that now is white. And we will use a black background in a minute. So what we're going to do is move that yellow box out of the way. And what I find it easy is just, these are rotated up and down, and I did both of them differently. It's a lot easier for me to duplicate it if it's going in this angle or this angle. So I am going to Control D and make a duplicate. This has a node right there. So if I grab that node, it's got another node corresponding, and it's going to lock to it. Snap to, if you have Snap to object on. I need to move this out of the way. Corel won't let you move anything past the page if you can't see it. And I could also go the opposite direction. But because I Control D again. And this is a good trick. I just made copies of both, which will work. Control D and just take this one and put it there. And then you can Control D and you're making multiple copies. Now, I'm not even going to have to group this together. I'm going to rotate it at negative 60 degrees. And you'll see why in just a second, because now I can Control D and move that node right there to that node right there. Nope, didn't work. This is the case you might want to group them together. I need to get that node right there. Now I can Control D and move the same thing. I'm gonna make sure I only have one copy, because sometimes when I control D, yeah, and this would have been a really good case of grouping them together. I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna control D and make this a group, or control G, and then control D. That way when I'm gonna have to zoom in. And by, I did must have control D it. By zooming in, I should have zoomed in prior to doing anything. Control D. See that node right there? I hope you can. It'll go right there. And now I can control D, and I'm kind of making a semi-rectangle or square. If you get that. Now I can group this together. Control G. And then I can bring in I could have any shape, but I'm just going to kind of do a rectangle, making sure all the parts are in it. Grab both of them and intersect. There's our section. Here's our box. I can actually make it black, go up to Object, Order, Back of Page, and then I can just put it right down on my pattern. Now, I'm still waiting to hear if he's going to cut this out, how you would cut that out of vinyl into no overlapping lines. I don't get that, so I thought I'd go. It's a pretty cool pattern. I'm almost sure that I've drawn it before. But when he gets back to me, I will go from there. Hope that helped. Thank you for watching.